Okay, let's go ahead and begin. Hey, well, that's cute. What is that whiteboard behind you, Nadine?
It's the bottom is whiteboard.
Nah,
Oh, this
that's
is this one. This one is me. The what what is that? We were mapping our checklist in BD together, me and Wayana.
nice, nice, nice. Okay, all right, very cool.
Before we create it in Whimsical, so we draw it first.
Oh, got it, got it, got it. Okay, sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, let's take a look.
Okay, wait. Let me share my screen.
Kyla saw her name on the board.
Yeah, I saw figure. Kyla and Nadine.
An amazing team, staying lean. Okay, let's do this then. So what I'd like to do today is this is just I haven't actually understood everything that has been created already, but I'll leave it to Kyla whether to use this or to adapt her current thing or whatever you want to be, right? So this is just a suggestion. I created this to kind of create a journey for each possible type of owner, and I'll go over each section kind of briefly so that everyone kind of gets an idea. Wait, let's let the roadmap. Okay, so what I want to do is first let's scroll far left. Okay, Nadine, we'll take a look at essentially what this is. So I would call this the 5 stages of closing a deal. Okay, and we want to do it in a way that inspires delight. We want to do it in a way that positively transforms a potential partner. So think about that in the back of your mind, not getting too caught up in the business aspect, but thinking, how can I positively transform this person? Okay. And what I've done is I created a roadmap structure so that you can keep on adding categories to the far right side as you find more categories, right? As you find like more different types of owners, you just plug that in. And each vertical bar should give you essentially a script, right? Like a way of actually processing and understanding how to deal with a certain type of owner. So if you'll zoom in on the far left corner, right? The first stage is essentially this should happen before you even arrive to this discussion. You should know approximately what the owner type is. Okay, this should already come across on the MQL. So you're free to come up with your own KPIs for defining an owner. Usually, a few good KPIs are like, not KPIs, just metrics. It can be age, nationality, profession, married or unmarried, children or no children. These kind of give you the quality of their property. These give you essentially a little bit of a picture of what this person is about, right? But the key here is to remain open-minded, because even though two people might actually look the same, they might have very different motivations and underlying situations. So that's something I want you guys to kind of go through, right? That is what should arrive on your MQLs, a clear picture of who you're going to speak to, okay? The second part is really important. You should spend 20% of your energy and time on building trust and encourage open conversation. If you don't do this, then you won't really be able to do the next step, which is discover. And 50% of your efforts should be on discovery. So if you don't get them to open up and talk to you in a way that they trust you, then the next part is going to be not be able to be done, and then you won't be able to close the deal. So the second part is building trust. So once again, being open-minded. Don't focus on closing the deal. Think of it this way. You're actually trying to screen this person out. That's actually a pretty interesting viewpoint. You're trying to actually convince yourself why this person should not be a partner. I know a lot of us later will probably be earning commissions from deals and whatnot, but I think this is really important. This is how we actually avoid bringing a person into the community who's not a right fit and then creating kind of a headache later on. I guarantee you, when we start opening up for business and everything gets better, there's going to be a ton of business for this particular chapter, okay? But we, I think, have to have the correct input at the very beginning so that it tracks the right kind of people that want to stay in this community. So your mindset should be about, like, does this person actually belong as a Bukit Vista member, okay? And this one is really important. Think long term, okay? Maybe they don't have the right product or service for them today, but try to understand all the reasons why not and get the truth out of them, because we're a pretty agile company. We can come up with a new service, we can come up with a new product, we can innovate ourselves to eventually be a good fit. And so what you want to do, being on the front line, essentially working with partners is getting all that rich strategic information that you can pass on to BI, to other people, and they can start analyzing this stuff and figuring out, oh, okay, we can actually do that. And we can close this deal for you in 2 months' time or 3 months' time. Just give us some time to perfect that, okay? Next thing is to think like a team, right? It's not just about you getting this deal, but it's also about bringing this information over. Why did the person choose to buy? Why did the person choose not to buy? Bring that information to the rest of the company so we can also improve your pitch and also improve the offering as well. And that's really important. Okay, next this is where you spend 50% of your time. This is where you spend listening to the client's real problems. You got to be really, really deeply curious about what it is that they really want, and you have to develop tactical empathy. You have to be able to see the world through how they see the world, right? So you're going to have to get into the mindset. This is a quote that we use from HR. Nadine, will you be able to pick that up for me, right? Everybody who is hired at Bukit Vista is hired because of these particular reasons, but let's just say I find these to be very, very valuable for all kinds of relationships I want to hold long term, right? Think about it this way. The first thing you're looking for is integrity. Does the person you want to have a relationship with have integrity? And the second is motivation. Are they properly motivated to get into this relationship? Third is their capacity. Is this relationship going to be one where there's increasing capacity, or have you reached the peak on the first day that you met them, right? Fourth is understanding. The last is knowledge, and experience doesn't really matter. So these things, I think, are super important in terms of looking for partnerships. This, once again, is a quote from HR. I'm not 100% sure whether it applies to partnerships, but I think it should. So I'm just going to use it now, and I'll explain a little bit more why I do it. Okay, let's go to the next frame. The thing you're trying to detect in the discovery is, first, integrity. You don't want to partner with somebody that is shady. You don't want to partner with somebody who doesn't have a good, clean reputation, because most likely that will just make things really, really painful for the rest of the company and for yourself as well, right? So you want to see, do they actually consider long-term partnerships with us? Do they have a sense of honor? Are they honest? Do they do the right thing, right? So that's super important. Second, what is the motivation for building the property? What is their motivation for wanting to partner with us? Try to understand that more and more clearly. Do they have any motivations for legacy? Do they have any motivations for relationship? Do they have any motivations to transact well? Third is their capacity, right? Really understanding they have this goal, they have this desire, they have this vision. What is their capacity really to achieve that? Do they have a great team? Do they know their technology? Do they have leadership? And really trying to get into the fundamentals of that. Are they agile? Can they adapt to changing situations well? Next is this idea of understanding. How well does this person actually understand about their situation? Is this the first time they've owned a property? Do they have good market knowledge? Do they understand how platforms work? Things like that. And the last thing is knowledge. Are they actually getting good knowledge from their sources about what the actual world actually reacts like? Okay. Before I go on any further, does anybody have any questions about anything that I'm talking about so far? Okay. All right. I guess that means you either understand or completely don't understand, right? So give me a thumbs up if you understand. Okay, good. Okay, this is pretty clear. I think most of you guys, this is stuff that probably everyone knows, but I just want to be a little bit more specific about it. Next 25% is about pattern matching. This is where you need to know the company, Bukit Vista, and what we offer really, really well. You need to know what we offer in order to have a good rebuttal. If they say, this is the reason why I choose this, you need to be able to understand, well, we have this service that kind of matches what you are looking for, right? And you need to be able to connect their problems to a benefit here. If you don't know all the benefits that we currently offer, then you might miss something, right? You go, oh, I didn't know that we had this service, or I didn't know Tendi did this, or I didn't know BI could offer that. And you might miss a connection point there, or you might get the connection point wrong, okay? But once you've understood their motivations and their capacities, you understand what they know, then I think you should be able to take care of 99% of all the cases. Because in all factuality, we have a superior team, we have a superior service to whatever the owner might think about doing themselves or whatever, right? So is just really understanding what the problem is and understanding how we can address that with the benefit that we have. Okay, and at the very end, just like every meeting we should have here in the company, you should reach some sort of conclusion, right? Don't leave the meeting with just kind of like hanging up in the air, like okay, what are we going to do next? Reach a decision. Reach like either yes or no, no maybes, right? So reach a decision. Or you reach a decision to postpone the decision, right? Maybe I can't make up my mind now, but we can come back and we can talk about it a week after you had a chance to talk with your wife or whoever it is you need to talk to, right? Or we'll have a follow-up discussion. Maybe they want to bring more people in, have another opinion. So, okay, we'll have a follow-up discussion where we can share more information about that. Or it could be some sort of project. Maybe they want to do a trial period, or they want to do a demo, or they want something else that will persuade them that you can actually do what you said. It should be one of these 4 outcomes at the very end, right? So don't leave a meeting with like no outcome, right? Like just kind of like an empty meeting. Okay. All right. So that's essentially the game plan. And any questions so far? Yes, Kyla.
Okay, I understand about okay pretty much your explanation, but I'm a bit curious. Getting to the third stage is quite challenging actually in real life. I
It's
guess.
always challenging, Kyla, and this is where you kind of need to keep the mission in mind, right?
Mm,
This is where you
yeah.
need to think about yourself, and how you think about yourself matters in how you sell. If you think you're selling somebody, then and you're asking to take something from them, it's always going to be very difficult. But if you think, hey, I want to positively transform you. We're both going to make money. You're going to have no risk, right? Why should you say no to this kind of offer? Then I think it's not so hard to bring that up. It is a myth. I think that people think that they're being too pushy or whatever. I think it's like those ideas when you give, like, let's say, a public speech, and you think, oh, everybody's gonna think I'm embarrassing, I'm ugly, or I'm not qualified to give this public speech. But it could be the opposite. It could be that nobody wants to see you fail either, right? When you don't ask for the business, sometimes the person's waiting for you to invite them, right? They're like, okay, I'm ready, right? Just invite me in. Tell me what I need to do next, right? But if you don't invite them, then you've built up all this work for nothing. You'll know, I think, by the end, whether or not you have this person or not, right? This should be clear. What you're just asking for is for them just to tell you straightforward, like, okay, what's it gonna be? You ready to sign today? Are you gonna be my next new partner? And you can do it playfully so that it doesn't like I'm trying to twist your arm like online. You can go, okay, all right. So I don't know if we can reach a decision today. Is there anybody else you'd like to check, or is there any other facts or any other people that you'd like to meet before you want to do this? And say, yeah, I'd like to check with your competitor. You can go, great, you can check with our competitor, but before you make a decision, please come back and just let me know what your decision is, right? Just for my benefit, right? You're free to choose whatever you really want to do. And this is where the beginning comes in. So let's do an example. Let's do an example of this, and I think once you see the first and beginnings, then it can become clear. Okay, so let's go to category 1. So we're talking about an owner with an existing management. Okay, so they have a property management handled by the owner, but OTA handled by a friend, freelance. There's no contract, and the OTA management is usually not 24/7. Okay, so what do we know about this particular person? What can we infer about this particular person? Are they gonna have kind of like a close relationship or a distant relationship? What do we know? Let's go to Wayana first.
What do we know? Uh, Basically, like based on what persona.
Mhm.
While important persona, as I mentioned before here in the first that you talk, like, is this owner legit? Is this owner like easy to work with? And also the property itself,
Okay.
the quality of property itself, and also is it like inspire the light? And this is like based on the man. So that is the most valuable.
Okay, great. Let's go in through that trust and open conversation. How would you create an accusation audit so that this person would disarm and be free to tell you more about like how they feel?
Oh, okay.
to get feel how they feel. So normally we ask the question like, "Hey, I understand that you've been running your property for like 2 3 years based on whatever that they say. Like, how do you feel? You know,
Okay,
what?"
very good. I guess Kyla is being the secretary right now, right? So, Kyla, let's go ahead and put down Wayana's accusation on it, right? So I understand that you have been working this property a few years. How do you feel about it so far? Okay, let's develop that a little bit more because look, after all, this person might think you're a slimy salesperson, right? That you're here to disrupt the relationship. And so you might want to try something maybe a little bit stronger. Nadine, how would you create your accusation audit so that this person would feel more comfortable sharing information about their plans with you?
For the category one, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I would say that if the OTM management handled by the friend, I would say um, it looks like you have a, v- it looks like you have a very loyal friend that wants to manage, that willing to manage your online travel agent management.
Mhm.
Could you could you please tell me more about your relationship with your friend?
No covering your mouth when you talk, Nadine.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
That's a bad sign, right? Don't do
I was
that.
thinking.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
your body
Sorry,
language
yeah.
when you do that, that says you kind of like don't not really sure what you're saying. So avoid that at all costs, right? I'm just being
Okay.
radically candid here because if you were doing this in a meeting inside the company, it's like who cares? But you know outside, this is just a little coaching tip. Okay, great. I'll write down mine. Right? I would say this. I would if this is a friend, I would go like I would say something like this. I would say, you know what? I respect the fact that you have this great relationship with your friend, and I don't want to be a person that gets involved or separates you from your friend, right? All I really want to do is just take a look and examine how you do your business, and if there's a suitable fit where both you and I can both benefit from that, and also not affect your friend, you know, does that sound like a good place we can start from? Okay. So you've dispelled that kind of this guy's a slime ball. This guy's here to like separate me and my friend, right? Away from it by just telling, kind of confronting the most uncomfortable thing first, right? You could go another way. You could say, you know what? I see that you have an existing management, and can you tell me how long they've been working with you? 3 years. Great. Oh, 3 years. Wow, that's a lot of time. It sounds like it's a pretty loyal relationship, right? And listen to what they say. And they go, yeah, that is the very loyalty. Okay, as a person who values loyalty myself, I can tell you that I'm not here to get in the way in your relationship with your existing management. And then say what you need to say, right? But I just want to examine for the next 20, 30 minutes with you how you operate your business and if there's any room for optimization. Okay? And if there's room for optimization, I want to create a win-win-win solution between the three of us such that everybody can get something more out of it. I'm sure your friend would appreciate that if you were actually doing better financially. Am I right? And what could they possibly say to that, right? So that's that. Oh, they might say something like, "Oh, I value money more than, or I value friendship more than money." And you can say that's fine too. Well, could I be your friend? And then you could always be playful. I think that's why it's nice to be playful, right? Then you could get one more friend, and you could make money. How about that, right? So as long as I think you get to the core nature of what they might be objectionable about, then they'll understand. Okay. Next is this idea, the disclosure. You need to tell them what you're planning to do. This is so important in establishing trust. I saw this yesterday. If you guys have had a one-on-one discussion with HR, I saw this yesterday, and I was like, ugh. Okay, when HR asks you a question about, oh, this is a one-on-one, they're asking you like, are you grateful here? Are you happy here? You're like, fuck, what should I tell you? I mean, are you going to fire me if I don't tell you the right answer? Is this what this is about? And you have no idea, right? These are kind of suspicious questions, right? So you need to disclose as much as possible what you want to do. If you don't disclose what you want to do, then this person doesn't know how to address you. They don't know how to talk to you, okay? So that part, Nadine's like, oh my God, this whole time, right? Okay, so you need to get into the habit of disclosing what it is you want. And you need to be selfish. You need to say, hey, look, I get paid by commissions, and I want to, of course, close a deal with you today. Just say it. That's fine, right? Like most business people, they understand how this works. That's not going to surprise them. And the more you just tell them that that's what you're doing, the less they like, oh, I've got to put my guard up against you, right? You're already building trust. Hey, look, I'm a salesperson. I get paid by commissions. If you join our company today, that's going to be great for me. But I want it also to be great for you. I want you to belong here because this is a company that inspires delight. And we work hard to innovate, to positively transform our owners. We've got a lot of history, and I've got a lot of facts to show you over the next 30 minutes that I'll tell you about. And then go into the discovery. But I want to ask you a few questions first, right? And that's how you would make that disclosure and then bridge into the discovery, okay? If you do not disclose your intention, people will not answer your questions because they don't know where you're coming from. They just go, why are you asking me these questions, right? So get all the dirt out in the very beginning. Just say, hey, I'm a salesperson. Some people tell me I'm really good at it. I'm very persuasive even. Maybe you're gonna be the first person I fail with today, right? You can even add some humor to it. You can add some humor to it because you're confident. And generally most people like that. Most people will see that as playful. They'll see that, and if you're able to do that already, you're able to convert this discussion into something that is more fun, right? And they're going to treat you more like a friend rather than somebody they have to build their defenses with. Because remember this is key. This is one thing I want you to remember. All friendships begin with a mutual conspiracy, all right? All friendships begin with a mutual conspiracy. So two people get together in class and they go, man, this teacher is kind of retarded, right? Yeah. Oh, you think so too? Great, right? Like, okay, all right, then there's some overlap there, right? Or like, man, I wish our boss paid us more. I thought I was the only one who believed that, right? So you kind of need to find what it is that you can mutually conspire with this person on, and that would help you kind of get into that. And the best thing to conspire on is the situation itself, right? The situation is awkward and weird, so talk about it. Just say, hey, this situation might be awkward for you. You're wondering if I could trust, you could trust me. This is the first time I met you today. I wonder if I can trust you, right? So that kind of thing helps really disarm and move this along, okay? So you definitely want to do that. Okay, is this clear? How you do disclosure and how you do the accusation audit. And the more you do here, the better result your next stage will be. If you don't do a good job here, your next stage, you're not going to get very clear answers. You're just going to get very guarded, like why are you asking me this? Or, oh, I don't know, or whatever. You won't get a good discovery, okay? All right, should we go to the next stage, right? This next stage is where most of your work comes from, right? This is where you can get very creative. Hey, before I begin, and this is where you can go surprise people. You can start with the integrity question first, right? Hey, can you tell me about, let's say, a few business relationships that you're the most proud of, Hey, who's been in business with you the longest? And they'll be like, why are you asking me this? Oh, because, I want to know if we're a good partnership, right? So already you're turning the table around. You're actually asking if they actually should be. See, this is really smart. When you're asking about somebody else's integrity, it flips the entire situation around, right? It flips them. They now should think about how to prove themselves to you instead of how you should prove themselves to them. Okay? So if I ask about, hey, look, before I get started, you play a little bit like you're shy, like you're not sure whether you should do business with this person, right? Which is kind of bizarre because you're the person who called the meeting, but now you're going to kind of like flip this around. You're going to say, hey, look, can you tell me a bit about what kind of, business partnerships you really enjoy? Can you tell me a little bit about who would vouch for you? This is an interesting way to start, right? You choose whether or not you want to start with that or you want to put that in the middle, but you should definitely have some questions about integrity at some point. Because if they do have integrity, they will appreciate this kind of questions, right? They'll start thinking, oh, this person really values it. That's why they're asking me. If they don't like this question, that could be a trigger. I can tell you this person isn't a good person to work with, right? Their history is they fuck everyone over, right? So that might actually be a good question to get to that idea of integrity. How do we understand about motivation? Let's go to Kyla. Carla, what do you think would reveal something about understanding the owner's motivation?
Maybe asking about their the reason as to why they keep the property, or yeah,
Okay.
why they keep the property, why they sell it. Is it their investment or not?
Okay. Didn't sell it. Is it investment? Okay. Very good. Let's go further. What more could we add to those questions, Nadine?
Actually, I will ask like the visions of the initial visions when you are actually the first at the first time you're building this property.
Very good, very good. Remember, vision can be broken up into three components, right? There's a legacy vision, a relationship vision, and maybe a transaction vision, okay? So you can actually explore like each one of these particular visions. Nadine, how would you set up those questions to explore how much this person cares?
I say that I would ask. Wait. I would ask. What motivates you? What motivates you to keep operating your property right now in the very hard situations pandemic?
That is a great question. That is an integrity question as well, actually. So you can actually upgrade that. That actually belongs in integrity now. So you could have a different result, right? You could have an integrity answer, you could have a transaction answer, but that could actually be an integrity question. Let's go to Wayana. What do you think is a good way to refine this question so that we can understand how much vision this person has at transaction, relationship, or legacy?
Couple, I think, do they care about the review of their property? Do they care about like the design?
Mhm.
Do they care about like 5 years plan?
Okay, all right. Something about design, something about. Okay, let me focus these questions a little bit stronger, all right? So let's say you're looking for design. You need to know why, right? You can probably ask a sequence of questions like this. So, what were the most important aspects of putting together this property? And they said design. And you go, design. Who did you want to actually experience your design? Okay. Guests, of course, right? Oh, okay, you want guests to experience. What kind of experience should they understand from this design? They should feel this. How long should they feel this for? Oh, they should feel like, their life was transformed. Bingo, you have somebody who's thinking about legacy now, right? So you've detected legacy from that question. So if you ask the same question again, like, okay, what's important to you? Design. Okay, who do you want to feel design? I don't know, magazines. Okay, what kind of magazines do you want to be published in? Like National Geographic or whatever, right? I want the most famous people to visit it. Bingo, again, you have a legacy person too as well, okay? But if you say design, and they say, oh, just like, I put in a good design because, I heard I make more money this way. Okay, all right. Then, okay, on that, you have transaction, but keep on going, right? You can go, okay, how much money do you want to make with this design? And they could give you a number, right? Let's say I want to make 40 million a month. Okay, all right. So now you know a little bit about their vision for transaction, right? So each of these sequence of questions is meant to understand how much each particular band this person has, right? And what do they often talk about? So this is how you discover. You discover, and then you throw beans into legacy, relationship, or transaction, okay? Let's say you ask them about this property again. How long did it take you to build this? Oh, it took me 3 years. Why did it take so long? I hadn't involved so many people. What kind of people did you involve? Oh, I involved architect, whatever, all these people. Who is your architect? It was this person. How difficult was it to get this architect? It was really, really hard. Interesting, all right. Why did you go through that effort to get this really difficult architect there? Because I wanted to create something that was awesome. Who did you want to experience that, right? And so, sorry, I went into design again. Sorry, I meant to go into a different pattern. But let's say it could be even size, right? It could be, how big did you want to actually have this? Oh, I wanted to have 10 R's originally. Then why is it only 5 R's? Because, I didn't have enough budget to actually do this. Well, what would you do if you had enough budget? I would build 2 or 3. All right, why would you build so many? Because I want more people to experience this amazing place that I call home. Relationship, right? How long do you want them to experience that? Oh, I want it to change their lives. Legacy, right? Why would I build 2 or 3? I want more money, right? Transaction. So these are all the kind of ways that you start understanding about this person's motivation. The more you understand about their motivation, the more trigger you have to actually control what you're going to say at the end, okay? Because if you understand that they're legacy-minded, you tie together legacy benefits. You say, hey, look, since you're concerned about legacy, so are we. Bukit Vista has been around since 2012. We've been doing 9 years. We've been working with hundreds of owners to evolve their properties, right? An owner starts generally here, and they end up generally here. Not all owners, of course, get that way, but with the right motivation that you've told me about with that, I can see that you kind of belong to this group of owners right here. And this is where these kind of owners end up when they work with Bukit Vista, right? So that's kind of like how you position that particular need with that particular benefit. Motivation is where you can spend about the majority of your time doing discovery. Because if you control motivation, you control where this is going to go later, okay? You can control how to rebut any particular outcome. If they are about family, if they're about their own family or whatever, you need to discover that. You need to discover what they really care about, okay? So sometimes it's other people, sometimes it's themselves. Sometimes like Pat Indra, right? Pat Indra is a real life owner. I think I insulted him today, but that's a different story. But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Pat Indra really cares about the outcome of his children. He does. He names his villa after his children, right? The 4 rooms are named after, his children, right? His villa is named after his family, right? Pat Indra and Ibu Ari, right? So his focus is a lot on family, 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 family. So he's doing it because he cares about family. So then it's all about like, how does this villa support your family? That's your motivation, right? And once you discover it, you can tell the story of that, right? You can say that his relationship with Bukit Vista, which I forgot about today, is how he can improve his family. The reason I said this is because his daughter got rejected for an internship here, right? So I said she should apply, right? And okay, anyway, sometimes it's hard to make everyone happy, but anyway, okay. This is why there's sometimes conflicts between different parts of the business, right? And that's pretty normal. So I read her CV. It was, yeah. Okay, but we figured out, let's say Pat Indra is motivated by family. So his relationship with Bukit Vista focuses on family. Not necessarily on income for income, not necessarily on anything else, legacy, but on family. So everything we have here in the company should be for family. And that's one thing that you can offer, right? Maybe you shouldn't offer it too loosely. Your kids will get internships here. No, because that might not all be. But there are cases where people's families, they interned here and they become successful. Like Pat Indra's first child, he interned here and now he has his own video production company, whom we might work with because we have no content people in Bali. So there's that opportunity as well for legacy and relationships, right, to develop. So that can be a different approach for a different owner with a different motivation. Okay, so there is a few different outcomes there. Does this part make sense? All good? Yeah? Okay. All right, great. Let's keep on going then. So capacity understanding, I think you guys know how to do yourselves, right? So this is related to, okay, what is your current capacity? If you wanted to make 40 million, how much hours would you need to bill, right? This is where you can understand, right, and get this person through. If once you understand these things, then you can start going into capacity and detecting if they have the capacity to do it. Let's say your first example, that person wants to make 40 million a month. You can be like, okay, if you want to make 40 million a month, how many bookings do you think that would take, right? Do you have a team that covers those hours right now that you need in order to get all those bookings? How many 5-star reviews do you plan to get? And just really feeling out what their current capacity is. How many staff do you have? What is their work hours? What's their relative experience? How adaptable are they? These are all really good capacity detecting questions that you can see. A good owner will enjoy this process, right? You've already disclosed why you're wanting to do this, right? Remember at the very beginning, the accusation audit, they don't need to be afraid of you. They know that you're a salesperson. They know you want to earn a commission. You're asking questions to get a sale, so that we already know where we're going, okay? But they'll feel more comfortable saying, yeah, look, my staff maybe aren't the greatest, right? My friend is kind of a good drinking buddy, but I don't trust him really to run my business very well. but he's better than nobody, so that's the real reason I have him. That's the kind of like thing that you want to get. And this is where we have to lead a little bit, okay? So really getting to understand their capacity. Okay, I'll need to keep on going, otherwise we won't have enough time, okay? Let's say right now we have a case now. Let's say it's Pa Indra, okay? Pa Indra, we have discovered that he cares about family. We've discovered that because we were listening carefully during the discovery. We found out he built this villa because he was thinking about family. He was thinking about how his children's education, he was thinking about how this is providing passive income. Him and his wife are both working, but he's doing a physical job. He's got like a retirement coming up, and his wife is also reaching into retirement age, so they need this thing. But they really wanted to support their family. He likes to spend some money on his own personal things, like Harley Davidson, whatever, motorcycles, but it's primarily family. Now this is where you need to think and inventory all the things that are here, right, that we can offer. So you care about family, so do we, right? This company was started by a family. It was by Jing and Wayana. They started their family here. Our employees often say that they feel like family experience when they work here, right? And we treat people in a way that allows them to transform. As family, sometimes we have to go through some difficult parts in order to get to where we're going. And I can guarantee that's probably going to happen in your journey too. But as a family, we always stick together and we try to work things out such that we all benefit, okay? And so that can be the way that you tie that up. Simple and clean. You don't need to talk about money. You don't need to talk about legacy. You talk about relationship, right? And that is how you would end that particular deal. And he would be satisfied because you pretty much have covered the one thing he values the most, and now you understand how to get that deal. Let's say it's our aspirational person who wants, like a Boo Lily, right? She wants to be known. She wants people to see this. She wants to be respected, right? Her villa is, she has no children, right? You've understood that she values her image a lot, right? She values being a socialite a lot, that she chooses her friends very exclusively, very, very carefully, and then that's what you offer. You say, hey, you know what, Boo Lily, we don't work with too many people like you as well. Turn the negative into a positive, right? We don't have that many high-end properties, all right? So we say, we also don't work with, how would you say, we're also very selective about the type of high-end properties we work with, which is true, right? So we value that exclusivity as much as you do. We know that you want to gain prestige and everything here, and so we want to make sure the most number of people see your property. And we can do that because we have a really smart marketing team that will portray your property in the most lavish way that will get lots of views, right? You're probably going to get more people seeing this property over time than number of people who read your magazines, right? So this will be essentially your way of staying your personal testimony here, right? This villa is going to be beautiful. You already have an on-site team that's going to take care of everything. Let us take care of the guests and show them an amazing experience. Let's get 5-star reviews together and have your property be seen by everybody in the world, okay? So that aligns with her vision. That aligns with how she sees the world, right? So the more accurately you can discover, the more confident you can be when you start dropping that end conclusion. They'll have very little to say because they go like, you know what, you understand me better than myself. That's really good, right? And they go, well, what about this? What about that? What about, so that should kind of go away, all right? So does those two examples give you guys some good context on what's going on? Okay, and the very last thing is just like what I said in the very beginning, all right? Ask for the business. Don't leave it there and be like, okay. Bye. See you next week. Now ask for the business. Say, hey, look, we've had an hour together. Do you think that's enough time to move to the next step? All right. All right. If I were to put a contract in front of you, what would you say? Do you want to sign this contract today or tomorrow, right? All different ways of really saying the same thing, but getting to a conclusion, right? And they might say, no, I'm not ready yet. But that's where you go back to discovery, right? You go back to discovery and you go, you're not ready. Oh, this is a good time to use tactful empathy. You're not ready. Yeah, I'm not ready. Sounds like you're not convinced yet, right? And then go like, I'm not convinced. Okay, all right, you're not convinced. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Could it be that I just did a terrible presentation and I totally didn't know what I was talking about? accusation audit, right? And then they go, no, I think you did okay. Calibrated question, what did I do okay on? You were fairly persuasive, but you're still not buying. Calibrated question again, right? Yeah, well, since we've had an hour together, we've had all this time to talk. Maybe you could tell me at least why, right? Your haircut, it's just terrible. Is there anything else? Yeah, and your background, it was pretty shitty. I don't like seeing water balls in the background. So my haircut and my background. Is there anything else? I don't know. Maybe you just have a funny accent. My funny accent, haircut, and the water ball. Is there anything else? No, that's about it. Okay, I'll fix my haircut, get that water ball removed, and I'll speak with a German accent, and can we sign the deal tomorrow? Right? That's how you would actually move towards the close, right? Get all the objections out, schedule another time to say, hey, look, we didn't have a perfect discussion. I just gave those as just a joke, but in reality, try to get those out, right? Try to get their final objections out. What are the 3 things that are stopping you from becoming our partner today? If you don't ask, you won't know, and they won't tell you, right? And remember, they're telling you because you've already established trust in the very beginning. They're telling you because you've already accusation audit and you told them what you're planning to do. So this is why it's really, really important to get all that stuff out in the beginning. Okay? So does this process make sense now? Yeah? Cool. Is this fun? Okay. Now, this is all good in theory. We can talk about it here, but it's another thing to practice this. Okay? So what I want to do is this. I want to see how you guys approach this next time in reality. Okay? So next time you get a sales pitch, add me inside. Or you could record it. No, add me inside. Add me inside. Just say this is a trainee, so it's not so intimidating, right? This guy's training, or you can say I'm the CEO. I don't care. Whatever. Be transparent. Just say the CEO is here to just accusation audit. Actually, that's a good chance. Be transparent. Accusation audit. My CEO is here to make sure that I'm doing a good job, right? So I hope you don't mind if he's around for the meeting and he's going to tell me what I'm doing wrong and if I'm really understanding you well, right? And I'll watch how you guys do this so I can give some feedback, right? Okay, but I think if you follow this script, if you follow this pattern, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to build a script for each particular type of owner. And you're gonna go back after you do your pitch and start inserting the things that are working and remove the things that aren't working, okay? So each time you add what works and you remove what doesn't work. You add what works, you remove what doesn't work. And pretty soon you should have a linear way through the entire journey where the person just goes, I'm ready to sign. Like, get me signed up right now, right? On that. So that's what it is. So how would you implement this practically? You would have to then now decide how to do this maybe without a deck even, right? Or if you do a deck, what you do really do is who was that guy that I talked to? Remember the Jakarta guy who pitched me and I thought he was really brilliant? Nadine, do you remember that guy?
Patan.
Yeah, that guy, right? You remember he just pointed to the slides in the deck that were relevant to what he discovered about me, right? He didn't show me the entire presentation. He just said, this is the slide that's relevant to you. This is the slide that's relevant to you. That is how an expert works a slide deck, right? You don't need to tell the entire story. You need to get here. If you try this out, at first, it will feel very scary because you have no control over the direction of the narrative. But over time, you realize that control is false control because you're bringing somebody to a direction maybe they don't want to go, right? Or they're telling you something, you're telling them something that they don't really want to listen to. But if you try this method, you're going to lose control in the discovery. You might hear things that are like, oh, what do I do with all this? But eventually, you'll get stronger and stronger and stronger, and you can pitch without a deck. And that is the best type of pitch, right? When you see leaders get together to talk business, they don't use decks, right? They just sit, they discover, they understand what the other person's problem is, they know their own shit, and then they offer solutions, right? No slide deck necessary. So that's eventually where you're going to go. Use a slide deck more and more sparsely, and use a slide deck only as a reminder and as a demonstration of what you can do with the pattern matching, right? You say, oh, you talked about this. This is the slide you should see, right? And this is where you expand more. You told me you care about family values and everything. Bukit Vista on the About Us side is about family values. We have core values here. This is how we develop people. This is what we actually do. This is how we develop owners, right? Talk about that relationship side, okay? All right. Sorry, this became a lecture. but here's what I want to see you guys try. And we still got 13 minutes. Do you guys want to try another one using this same system, right? Maybe a category 2 or a category 3, and then I'll give you guys feedback on that. Should that be a good exercise?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's try that. Let's try category 3, all right? Let's try a category 3 in this particular case. So I've moved the category 3 over to the next column, and let's give it a shot. Let's go to Kyla first. Category 3 owner, how would you structure your accusation audit?
Since we already know that there have several properties and own marketing team, I think I'm going to start the acquisition audit with you might think that I'm an agent, but I'm trying to give you a partnership opportunity here to bring you more guests. I think I'm so bad at
Okay. What level is Kyla targeting right now, Wayana?
Oh, she's into the transaction.
Transaction, right? That's transaction. Think about a little bit more. Think a little bit more. Nadine, how would you target this accusation audit?
I would say, in case you think I'm probably a parasite that will disrupt your family between you and your team,
Huh?
I'm just saying that I believe I just want to find out the room of improvement between you and your team, and how can I adding more value to your team.
There you go. Okay. You might want to be careful with really high emotional words like parasite, right? If that's the first thing you say, then you don't want to label yourself, remember? Don't label yourself, because then that's what they think about. Just talk about the intention, right? You might think I might want to get between you and your team and your relationship, but that's not my goal, right? My goal is actually to understand a little bit more, to see if I can add value to you and benefit your team at the same time, okay? So that I think is safer. Labeling yourself is not such a good, unless you do it in a playful way, but don't do it at the very beginning, because they don't have trust with you. They might think you're actually just telling them you're a parasite. And you have to remember, people experience emotional waves as you talk, right? And so when they hear parasite, they might not hear anything else. They might just think this person's a parasite, right? So you might want to, you also, this is like where the cadence and the rhythm matters, right? You need to start maybe a little bit more general. And you could end with parasite, like, hey, look, there's people that approach you every day, and they probably tell you about things that you already know. And they probably try to get you to separate from your existing team. That sounds like a parasite to me, but that's not what I'm about. Okay? So then that's a softer, more elegant way to say that. Okay? And then talk about what you're going to do. Okay? So that's another way you can accusation audit that. Okay? All right. That was actually really good. I just improvised that. I like that. I want to do that again. Okay, it's like freestyle rap, right? Just come up with these lines as you go. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to get things started. You might have heard this already, right? There's people who probably approach you every day telling you things like this. They make promises that they can't keep. They do this and this. This would probably be a parasite. You might think I'm actually that. But what I'm here to do is I'm here to talk about what we can offer. And the longer I speak, the more sense hopefully I will make. And you can stop me if I'm not making any sense. And the more that you'll start seeing our point of view. Can I have next hour of your time to tell you more about this, right? And so that is a very clean accusation audit, right? And you've also separated yourself from the other people, right? While doing an accusation audit. So you're going to say that you're different, which is a really clean beginning, okay? All right, so disclosure now. Disclosure could be the same, I think, right? Like it's pretty much the same, right? So we could just say ditto. All right, let's go and try to understand capacity. Now this is a person, all right? No, we have to go down the stack first, right? Let's go down integrity. It's important to go down the stack, right? Because if you ask for capacity without understanding motivation, it won't really matter, right? If you be like, what's your motivation? How much money do you want to make? They say, nothing. Then if you have limited capacity, then that's not a problem anymore, right? But you're trying to find differences, right? They're motivated to get this, but their capacity is that. That's hopefully what you're trying to discover. Okay, so let's go into the set of questions that we would try to ask about integrity. So, babe, Wyatt, how would you understand integrity from this particular type of owner?
Okay, from this kind of honor, like how long you've been working with the team
Yes.
and how are you happy with your team?
Okay, good. How would you describe the relationship with your team? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Good. Let's go to
Yeah.
Kyla. Kyla, what would you say? Oh, Kyla's writing. Let's assign Kyla a helper. I've been helping Kyla. Nadine, when Kyla speaks, maybe Nadine can write, right? And vice versa. Okay. Kyla, what would you say? Oh, well, Kyla's still writing, so let's go maybe to Nadine. What would you say to understand the integrity of this owner?
Is your team the only team that managing all the aspect of your property?
Okay, that's
Or
actually pretty good.
do you?
That's a capacity question, though, right?
I'm actually want to discover whether they have a relation with the other freelance agents or only trust the team to do
Okay.
that.
Just say, how many groups of people do you work with for management? How many groups of people do you work for with, let's say, marketing, right? And understand that part first, and you can kind of know a little bit better, okay? So how many groups of people do you work with management? How many groups of people do you work with marketing? So you get like a picture there. Okay, if you knew that, what would be your follow-up question? So I say 5 and 5. I work with 5 different management companies and 5 different like marketing companies.
Sorry, sir.
Let's say I give you a weird answer, like I say 5 and 5. I work with 5 management companies and work with 5 marketing companies.
Oh, why?
You're on the
why
right
do
track.
you think that you?
You're on the right track. You're on the right track, right? You've
Why
got
do you
something.
think? Why do you think you actually need more than one property management?
No. You're framing. You're framing now. You want to be open, all right? So Nadine said, "Why do you think you need more than?" I would frame it this way, right? You're leading the question into one, and you don't want to necessarily do that at this point because that's a leading question. You want to be open at this point, understand, right? 5. Don't you think that's a surprising number?
Okay.
And they go, I guess so. I don't know. Like, how many would you recommend? Most of the companies I talk to just use 1. Really? So they might not know that that number is surprising, right? But they might tell you something more about it. They might go, oh yeah, 5. I use 5 because I couldn't trust anybody. I need to have backups and backups on that and backups on that. And, oh, okay. So now you know something about maybe their motivation now, right? They really want things to be super tight. So I stage it this way, but actually at any point you can discover motivation, right? Any point you can discover integrity. It's kind of subtle, but that could be it. Just by being curious, you need to really be curious to get it out. And if you're curious, you can't focus it in too narrow, Nadine. You can't ask a question. Why don't you just use 1? Because then now they can't really tell you, right? They will tell you a question that answers your question, or more they might have some inclination. Why do you think I should use 1, right? You should just be, hey, that's kind of surprising to me. Does it surprise you that you need 5 management companies and 5 marketing companies? Not at all. Well, it still surprises me. Can you tell me why? And I go, okay, they tell you why, right? And then you understand a little bit more about that. Okay. This is really about quality of relationships. It's all about quality of relationships here, right? Tell me about the highest quality relationships that you have. How many and what are the quality of the relationships? If people with integrity tend to have a lot of very high quality relationships, right? People without integrity tend to not talk about any of their relationships at all, right? So that is generally what you're trying to drill for. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is motivation. Let's go back to Kyla. Well, Kyla's still writing, so let's go to Wyanna. Wait, Kyla will always be writing. I just realized.
Bella, I can back you up.
Great teamwork there. Okay, so now Nadine will rate, and Nadine will. Okay, I'll ask Lana. Babe, what do you think is a good motivation question to ask them now? They have a management company. They have an existing team. What's a good question to ask?
Okay, what a good question to ask to benefit them or collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay,
Motivation, not collaboration. Motivation. How do
motivation.
we discover their motivation?
Motivation in terms of what they have now, or
Now we need to know what motivates them to actually choose a management company, right? What motivation, what goals do they have with the property?
let's see. What should be that question? What motivation question? I didn't have it in my head.
Okay, let's keep on going. Let's go to Nadine's right now. Let's go to Kyla. Kyla, what would we say to understand somebody's motivation?
With this kind of persona, I think I'm going to ask, how do you envision your property with the current management performance?
Okay, very good, very on topic, right? Really great. How do you envision the property with the current management's performance, right? And how do you then add more color? How do you add more detail to that question?
In the next 3 years?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, keep on going longer. Keep on going and drilling deeper and deeper and longer, because then you can see how legacy minded they are, right? Right. So you can see, okay, how long do you want people to actually remember this? How long? Okay, great. Let's see. This is a question I would ask about motivation, right? Especially if it's a person already with a existing team. You know a few things, right? You know that they're just not, they didn't build something and then just go whatever, okay? So they built something, and then some people are, how would I call them? They're like, oh shit, we ran out of time. Okay, we might not have enough time, but we'll continue this at a different time. But last thing, some people might just build a villa because it's fun, right? You know, it's fun going and doing the construction. Some people think it's fun. And getting it fitted out, and it's like a toy, right? Some people might feel that way about it. And that's all it is to them. It's a toy. It's like, I have the money, just who cares, whatever. Have this thing, just like maybe, you know, like I might have, I don't know, like an iMac or something, right? They have a villa. Some people really care. And if you already hired a management team, you probably care about something, right? It's not a toy. It's not a recreational thing. This is something that you believe in. So you probably care about your brand. You probably care about like this idea of how this property will be seen. So I would ask questions about like, what do you want your brand to stand for, right? What do you want your brand to represent? How many people do you want your brand to influence, right? Questions like that, because then that really starts getting somebody to think about, okay, all right. And generally the people who create these things are really focused on that. They want their brand, right? This is currently one of those examples of a deal that might not go through, right? Because Bukit Vista, we want our brand and they want their brand. So sometimes we have to like figure out, okay, how do we co-brand, right? So this might actually end up in a, but if you discover it, at least they care a lot about their brand, about how people will perceive it, then that's actually a good discovery too. We might be able to do some sort of, you know, partial contract, or we might be able to help them out with certain layers, and they can keep their brand there, okay? So there's all kinds of like ways I think we can go about that. But what I'd like you guys to try doing is this methodology, okay? Try filling out the next two columns on your own, right? Write down questions that you think really are really good for discovering motivation, really good for discovering integrity, really good to like, you know, try to close the deal of these cases, and just give yourself options, right? Give yourself lots of options, where to go, first question, follow-up question, these type of things. Because when you have this, then this becomes your script, right? This becomes what you start using, and if it doesn't work, then you go to the next question, right? You go to the next question, you go to the next question, and you just kind of work your way down the question list. And at some point, you should see this is really engaging the other person. They are really listening. They're taking notes. When you ask them a question, they respond. And that is how you know you've perfected a certain type of owner. And that is how you build a really good sales program. When you know exactly what to say to what particular owner, then you can build a really large sales team, right? Because they just follow the script. They just go, ask this question, ask this question. But what we're doing is we're pioneering that process. We're figuring out how that process should look like for all these different categories. Okay? All right. Hopefully that's exciting. When's the due date, Kyla? Very good. How long would it take you guys to finish the rest of these categories for the first review? Just for the first review, right? Let's go to Wyatt. How long do you think that would take?
For this review, it take maybe like 30 to 40 minutes.
Really? That's okay. How about I give you guys till Monday, right? We'll come. No, maybe Wednesday. Let's go Wednesday, okay? Monday's then you know over the weekend. I don't want to give you guys homework with that. Okay. So let's review this on Wednesday. And Kyla, please set up a meeting with me on Wednesday, and we'll just see what everybody did. In the meantime, tag me if you need any tips. I'll give you kind of like different directions. But this is the direction we can go. When it's set, you guys are sales managers then, right? You just give this to new people, and you say, hey, look, follow the script, and you should be okay. And the person will be persuaded. And that's the end output. Okay? All right, great. Was this fun?
Yeah. So
Fun.
I just want to confirm that mean we do like what you call like just we write down what we thought first and then we review it like
Yeah.
that.
So everybody just write down your own accusation audits, write down your own disclosures, write down your own questions to discover motivation for each category of owner, write down your way of discovering integrity for each category owner. If it's the same as the previous category, just say ditto, right? Same as the previous one. So that way, of course, disclosure probably is the same across every category, right? Maybe not. Maybe some people prefer you to say something else, right? Not like I'm a salesperson, but maybe they're a farmer, right? And you can use a farming analogy. You can say, hey, look, you grow your crops so that you can harvest later. Well, I'm growing my crop today, right? I'm going to start with today is our seed day, and in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, we're going to make money. And so you could use a different kind of disclosure, a little bit more focused on that particular type of person so that they hear where you're coming from. They go, oh, okay, all right. This guy talks like the same way I do. I like that. You can identify with them a bit more, and it sounds more relatable. Okay, so that's this is why also identifying the owner category is also super important. You can disclose different things depending upon what the owner is. If the owner is a business person, telling them you're a salesperson, you're a commission person probably works really well. They know how that works, right? But if it's maybe like a nonprofit person, you can use a different framing disclosure. You can say, today, I know you probably in nonprofit look for funding, right? And funding is really hard to get. You have to be persuasive. So that's why I feel like I'm doing right now, right? I have to be very persuasive to you in order to get you to believe in this idea. So I'm going to try in the next hour to do that. So you want to use a relatable case. So disclosure can actually be personalized as well for each particular person. The more personalized it is, the higher your success rate because you're speaking in a language from a background that they understand. And a great sales team knows exactly how to do that. You're not being slimy, you're not being weird, you're being empathetic, right? And you need to and you should be genuine. You should be able to be friends with this person because you went on a journey together. And Felicia, like Wayna knows, Felicia, Johan, all these people, when I first met them, these guys were millionaires. I was like, backpacker doing a sales job. But eventually, I hung out with them so often, and they became my friends. And they look after me now, right? And I think like them now. They show me all these different things. So that is actually a really good transformation that can happen to yourself when you empathize, right? You can start thinking more like how rich people think, right? And that generally is a good personal transformation for your own career and for your own legacy to be great. That's one of the best parts of this job. Okay, I'll let everyone go. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so